Hi, Mike here. You're watching Scout Restoration Yukon. In this video, I inspect, lubricate, and test the Trico vacuum motors for my 1966 International Scout 800. I hope you like it. Let's get to work. If you want to help, please subscribe to Scout Restoration Yukon. It's free. Mike Morrow, over and out. Trico have been building vacuum motors since 1928. These are the vacuum motors for the Scout 800. They go at the bottom of the windshield. On the Scout 80, they're at the top. So I'm going to take one apart, see what's going on in there. Very gently, I'm prying up on this gasket, and I got it. Look at that. I got the gasket. The end of the paddle's stroke, the spring flips the shuttle valve, which reverses the vacuum to the other side of the paddle. Then the vacuum moves the paddle once again to the end of its stroke, and the spring once again flips the shuttle valve. I'm removing the clip, shuttle valve, hanger, and spring together as an assembly. Very carefully. The shuttle valve is notched to the spring hanger. This is the clip. Note the notch in the shuttle valve where it goes onto the hanger. The felt should be lubricated. Under the shuttle valve plate, you can see the 3 vacuum ports. Vacuum from the switch on the dash controls this valve to operate the wipers. We'll just see how dirty it is inside. I don't want to damage the gasket or lose anything. Okay, now very gently make sure it's free all the way around. There, the gasket is intact. Note there's an exhaust valve on the paddle. There hasn't been any water or contamination. The grease still looks in decent shape. So what I'm going to do is carefully put a little bit of grease in there, a little bit of grease in here. I'm just rubbing the grease that was already in there onto the edges of the paddle and onto the shaft. So I'm just going to slip that back in there just like it was. I was worried it was going to be full of crap. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of winter air tool oil in there, just a little bit. Because I live in a very cold climate. Right? Move this paddle back and forth. It's looking like I will be able to do this job without buying any parts, which are very hard to get. I think that's plenty for now. Make sure that's right. This top piece here can just go right back on there. Like that. I'm just going to snug these screws. They weren't very tight at all when I undid them. The middle port is supply vacuum coming from the engine and the vacuum pump. The other 2 ports connect to either side of the vacuum chamber. The position of the shuttle valve plate allows vacuum to one side of the chamber or the other. This vacuum acts on the paddle, moving the wiper back and forth. When the paddle reaches the end of its travel, the plate redirects the vacuum to the other side. This creates the back and forth motion necessary to operate the windshield wipers. Here we see how the shuttle valve plate ultimately connects the left and right ports to the vacuum source. The clip fits like this. The spring and hanger are notched to the shuttle valve. The other end of the spring hooks on the clip. The end of the clip hooks over the post, and the shuttle valve drops into the hole in the shaft. I'm testing the operation of the vacuum motor with my small handheld vacuum pump that I usually use for bleeding brakes. See how the over-center spring mechanism flips the shuttle valve back and forth. The service manual says to use brake fluid for lubricant. Brake fluid is hygroscopic, meaning it sucks water. Water freezes. I don't like this idea. So I'm using Pass Load Winter Air Tool Oil. It actually has antifreeze in it. So I'm quite satisfied with these wiper motors. So the last thing I need to do before installing them on the Scout, I have to install this sleeve, this little bracket with this sleeve that supports the shaft. The shaft goes through the sleeve, and it's, believe it or not, slot screws. Somewhat of a rarity on a Scout, because usually everything's Phillips. So I just have to run these little screws in. They have star washers on them. So now this wiper motor here, it's ready to install. I'm now installing the wiper motor onto the Scout. It's held on there by a nut on the other side. Just like that. Same thing on the other side. This is the wiper shaft here. Just carefully tighten that up to 9/16 without damaging the paint. And same thing on the other side. Tighten up. In conclusion, there's nothing wrong with these vacuum motors. I was expecting them to be full of crud. Obviously, they have previously been serviced, possibly many years ago. I will see how they work when the Scout is running. It's a Concours restoration, so I will not upgrade the wipers. If necessary, I will build a small vacuum reservoir to assist the wipers at times of low vacuum. In my next video, inside cab, I will restore the brake and clutch pedal block. I hope you like it. If you want to help, please subscribe to Scout Restoration Yukon. It's free. Mike Morrow, over and out.